Belinda had been adopted by the Rose family. She was an orphan and her parents couldn't have children. So they had taken care of the young woman from a very young age. She had no memories of her childhood, but thanks to her new family, she hadn't felt the absence of anyone. One day while she was at school, one of the grade repeaters, Samantha, confronted her best friend. Belinda didn't hesitate to defend her, but in the middle of the fight, she ended up injured. When the teacher found out, Samantha was suspended for several days for bad behavior. This infuriated the bully, because in addition to the school sanction, her parents also punished her. Therefore she devised a plan with her group of friends. Despite Belinda, as the young woman rode home on her bike, Samantha and her friends were waiting for her hiding behind some bushes. When Belinda entered, they also entered from behind. They pushed her and began to break various household items. One of the girls in the group thought they were going too far and asked Samantha to stop, but suddenly the whole floor moved under their feet. An earthquake was taking place. Belinda's house was very old, and due to the vibrations there were several detachments from the roof. The group of assailants managed to escape from the building in time and fled into the woods, but there they met their worst nightmare. A long thin man with no face caught them. He was Slenderman. He was mad at them for hitting Belinda. So he killed the entire group except for one. In this way, she would live the rest of her life tormented by remembering what had happened. Afterwards, Slenderman went to the house of Belinda, who was unconscious, and took her with him into the forest. The young woman had her sight and right eye injured and several internal hemorrhages. She opened her eyes and found herself face to face with them. Fear washed over her, but Slenderman calmed her down and told her that he was there to help her. He offered to cure her, if in return, she would show him that she was worthy of working for him. But Linda didn't know what to say. But if she didn't agree, she would die in minutes, because she wouldn't make it to the hospital in time. So very scared, she accepted the deal. He took her to a surgeon and she underwent an operation with very little anesthesia. She felt a very intense pain. When they finished, the young woman fell unconscious and Slenderman left her in the town for people to find her and take her to a hospital. When Belinda woke up, she barely remembered anything that had happened, and even had gaps in what had happened moments before the earthquake. In her subconscious, she had several images of Slenderman, but she confused them with dreams. When she got out of the hospital, she found out that Samantha's group had turned up dead except for one of the girls. Belinda tried to talk to her several times to ask her what had happened. But she always avoided her, ran away screaming in a panic attack. From that moment on, she repeatedly found the tall thin man of her dreams stalking her. But always there was a person with a white mask who defended her and allowed her to escape. Something told her that all this had something to do with what had happened the night of the earthquake. She needed to know the truth. So she decided to talk to her friends Chris and Dan, to help her find clues. Dan had mentioned Belinda's investigation to another friend, Adrian, and he also wanted to help her. At first the young woman didn't trust him too much, but soon they became friends. One night returning home, Belinda met the tall man who was chasing her face to face. He was Slenderman. She got scared and wanted to run away, but he tried to calm her down and told her he wouldn't hurt her. He told her that they had met before, that he knew her real parents, that they had made a deal in which she would become their proxy. The young woman began to remember when suddenly the man with the mask appeared again. Slenderman tried to kill him. And in the middle of the fight the mask fell to the ground. And Belinda could see the face of her defender. It was Adrian. Belinda was in shock. She didn't understand anything. The boy grabbed her by the arm, pulling her away from Slenderman, and told her that he was her biological brother. He told her about their past, that Slenderman had separated them from their parents and had to erase their memories so that they wouldn't remember anything of their previous life. He was carrying out all those manipulations to make her his proxy and become a servant. The young woman was stung. She no longer knew who was the good person or who was the bad person. She didn't understand why Adrian hadn't said anything into them before and had pretended to be a stranger. However, Slenderman had saved your life the night of the earthquake. If it hadn't been for him, she would be dead. She didn't know where to position herself, so she ran back to her house. A few days later, her friend Chris started behaving strangely. He had become violent with her and answered her in bad ways. After several days with that attitude, Belinda decided to talk to him seriously. Chris treated her in a very rude way. But what she didn't know was that the young man was being manipulated by a superhuman force. His feelings and memories were being twisted, and the boy was reacting aggressively. Suddenly, Adrian appeared and he started hitting Chris hard. Belinda, terrified, screamed for him to stop. Adrian tried to explain to her, but she didn't want to listen to him. If he was her brother, she wanted nothing to do with him. She felt cheated. She no longer knew who anyone was, not her friends, not her parents, not even herself. She took out all the money she had in her savings account and decided to leave town. She dyed her hair black, bought new clothes and put on an eye patch. On the way, while looking for a hotel to spend the night, a group of guys started following her and harassing her. She started to run, they followed. She hid in an old house with an open front door. They had a shed with tools and utensils for work in the fields. The boys slipped into and cornered her with mischievous grins. Unconsciously her hands grabbed an axe, and she broke free of them by attacking blindly. When she reopened her eyes, the image was terrifying. She had killed them. She got scared and ran away to hide. But the crime was in the news, and it wouldn't be long before they had clues that would lead them to her. She began to feel a very sharp pain in the operated eye. Every minute the pain was more intense, but suddenly it began to emit a red light. That had to be the work of Slenderman, so she returned to the forest in search of him. He was waiting for her. They walked together into the forest and disappeared into the mist. He had succeeded after ripping her from the hands of her biological parents and brother, manipulating people like Samantha, Chris, or her adoptive parents. He had taken her down the path he wanted. She had great potential and she was ready to work for him. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it. And if you want to see more Drama Live videos, subscribe to our channel. See you in the next episode.